Hello and welcome to another poll review. We got 7 polls from the YouTube fam, straight to the Twitch fam to talk about. And so we're going to just dive right in, get some reactions. Chat, you know the drill. Twitch fam, feel free to type your reactions as well as we talk about the polls. First question we're going to be reviewing here. What deck archetype are you most excited for after the buffs? This is the 9.3 patch buffs. We're over 2,000 votes. This one was really interesting to me. You got the Super Dea decks. You have Northern Realms Drog, and then the Monsters Death Wish, and then the SK Warriors Ice, and other. And people were really pumped, really split. I think this reminds me a lot, for me, I'm once again asking for my financial support. Cracking. You guys are cracking me up in the chat. And there's the comments others. I could open a new tab. Okay, we could pop over and see what people are saying here. Really go in depth. So I really like that this is split. For me, my big takeaway from this poll is, wow, the Gwent community is full of people that like different factions, like different archetypes, like playing different ways. You maybe have some more memeier people, Super Dea, you have some Skellige people, you got the classic Monster Death Wish people, you got Northern Realms Reverence, and they're like, yeah, bring me that archetype. I love that. Other shoutouts, let's see what we got in chat. 9 upvotes. Harmony, I feel really sad because Harmony's terrible, but Harmony and Poison package. Once again, reminding us that Harmony is an undersung like archetype that CDBR hates, but it's great. Wild Hunt Frost getting some respect. Vampires, I don't know if vampires ever got buffed, and they'll never get buffed. CDBR basically tried to buff vampires, and they're like, yeah, we give up. We give them 2 awesome leaders, and they got nothing. Moving on. Wild Hunt Frost, a lot of really great stuff. People had all kinds of stuff. Shout out to the Witcher Druid deck I'd made. Love that. Thank you, Andrew Robinson. Warms my heart. It's beautiful. And I thought this just, to me, showed the diversity of the Gwent player base and how it's so important for CDBR to keep buffing everything. If an archetype is forgotten, the players do not forget. The moment you buff it, they're like, yes, let's do it. Let's get excited about it. And also Harmony, like, also shout out, 9 upvotes on a poll that was not listed here is a big deal. Big deal in my opinion. So they need some love. This Harmony needs some love. All right, back to the polls. And all right, and yes, chat has become a runaway train as I try to talk about this. And you guys are all talking about how to financially support me. I'm super grateful, Harmony is even worse than resupply, in my opinion. Proud Gwent, I agree. That's so sad. That is so sad. Resupply is good because of reinforced ballistas, and that's enough. Harmony loses way too often. Needs some serious love. There was a poll, not this week, but last week about that. Need some love. Next one. 2.6k votes. That's a huge poll. If you're getting over 2,500, it's a big deal here. What is your favorite non-Gwent card game to play? Wow. This poll's a huge deal as a content creator. 98 comments. There was a lot of other card games called out here. And this is huge. So people got into Gwent because of Witcher 3. A lot of people just because of Witcher 3 got into Gwent. Got Yu-Gi-Oh! Shout out, Elder Scrolls Legends shout out. There's a lot of card games, but the thing for me is Gwent really stood alone. A lot of content creators will think about, wow, if my community likes card games, maybe I should hop to another card game. But this might, to me, indicates, look, if you want to diversify your content, you kind of shot yourself in the foot a little bit. Gwent is so unique in the card game space that people don't really want to jump over to something like Magic the Gathering, Legends of Runeterra, or Hearthstone, these mana system-based card games. They only like Gwent. So you might have better luck as a streamer jumping to something totally different. Additionally, the upvotes on a lot of people played because of Witcher 3, maybe the natural jumping point or game that people are interested in is RPGs, not actually other card games, where Gwent is the anomaly in this. Yu-Gi-Oh! Makes, let's see, catching up with chat here. Patreon link, you can just type Patreon. No, hold on. Patreon. Got you covered. I thought that was really fascinating. Yeah, sorry YouTube fam. I am not going to miss a chance to have somebody hop in on Patreon. I'm not going to miss it. But I think it's super interesting to me that Gwent and The Witcher 3 are so closely intertwined, and it's so different. Right now, as content creators in the Gwent community, to expand their content, sometimes to take a break from Gwent and avoid burnout, playing around the Storybook Brawl, they might say, oh, this jump could work out. But I would be really curious if the jump actually is about building up a storybook brawl fan base as opposed to keeping your Gwent community, because the Gwent community might actually really only like Gwent and might actually secretly be RPG fans as opposed to card game fans. That is, boom, it's mind-blowing to me. It's so interesting. It's so deceptive. Gwent is such a unique game. I love it. I love it. It's so cool. I'll keep that in mind, by the way, guys. As, John, if you ever want to play another game on the channel, maybe a card game isn't the right choice. Maybe you guys are all RPG fans. God only knows. All right, maybe I'll ask another poll. We'll find out. Moving along, moving along. By the way, I guess plug this one here. I still pay attention to this. Are there any questions you wish to poll the Gwent community about? Just toss in questions there. I do keep notes of the better ones, and often am willing to ask them. I'm actually, a couple of these questions came from one of our patrons, or one of my patrons, who had a list of questions, and several of them were unbelievably good, and they became this one. Speaking of that, one of my patrons' questions was actually this one right here. I did some slight tweaking to the wording, but 2,500 votes. How often do you experience anxiety when you play ranked Gwent? And I'm going to catch up with Twitch or the chat real fast. Career and data analytics, something like that. Played Gwent because of Witcher 3, couldn't stand Hearthstone. Yeah, a lot of people came over from Witcher 3. Even the Twitch chat saying that. Twitch fam. Hello to YouTube. Yep, hello YouTube from Beef. I see. Slay the Spire. I'll do like Slay the Spire. Stay in the World of Witcher. World of Witcher is a big deal, Ramsey. I agree with you there. Keeps live. Okay, everyone good. RPG fan. I play RuneScape. Good choice there, Almighty. Is Storybook Brawl considered a card game? I consider it one. All right, moving on to this question, because this question I thought was one of the most interesting questions on this whole list. You get a little bit of a bell curve, but it's pretty split. How often do you experience anxiety when playing ranked Gwent? There's a portion of the user base that just experiences it every game. And you know what? I kind of don't blame them. Because if you lose a single game or you want to test out a deck, and now Gwent has defaulted you to ranked play, you see the mosaic piece getting torn out of your hands. Paradoxically, though, Gwent has, without a doubt, one of the most generous, unbelievably generous ranked systems in the world. You can't go down. It only focuses on your highest rank. As long as you can win a net of about 6 matches in a row, sometimes 5 you promote and then win 5, but typically 6 matches in a row, hey, you're done. That's it. You move on to another rank. It's so interesting. I think, let's see, it feels sad for the 14%. Maybe Gwent is for them. And Phobius, I think it might be less about Gwent. It might be Gwent. But given how generous Gwent is with the rank system, I imagine it's just people who somewhat struggle with ranked Gwent. Or not ranked Gwent, but ranked systems in general. And that's okay. Like, not every game needs to be ultra competitive. Even multiplayer ones sometimes aren't. It doesn't need it. There is a mode in Gwent that says we don't do rankings, right? It's just normals. I find that to be interesting. Really interesting. What's my evil deck idea? Is Canta Spam? Canta Spam's on my list of decks to do. No, I got something way more evil than Canta Spam to show today. Moving along. Wait, I did want to check out the comments. Sorry, not moving along. I thought I'm the only one having this weird feeling about the ladder. The anxiety and stress I get while playing on the ladder is just ridiculous. It's not about the decks I'm playing against. It's about the competition and MMR on the line. And I feel that. That's just the nature of ranked games. And it's really interesting to see that there is a point of the player base that just has that feeling. Also, here's another good comment. It depends on the meta and matchup. Playing Northern Realms in every faction nightmare to face. Sometimes, I confess, sometimes I see Syndicate and I'm trying to meme and I just like they're going to tunnel drill my whole combo. This stinks. You can be stressful. Now, sometimes people say, you know what? Why I can't believe people experience it. And they're like, there was one comment, I'm not going to find it. They're like, I can't believe anybody feels any stress here. But most people do. Rarely, sometimes, like, in some of the games, the majority of people experience anxiety playing ranked some of the games or more. Most games or every game. It's mind-blowing. It's fascinating to me. Now, I'm probably personally in this category. I will confess there once or twice I've seen Syndicate for the 4th game in a row or Nilfgaard for the 4th game in a row, and I'm like, you know what? My deck can't beat it. GG, next game. Give me anything else. But it's fascinating to me. Just fascinating. So I also think it's good to keep in mind, be kind to people. Just in general, if this many people get anxiety when playing ranked Gwent in general, if you play a more competitive game with more social features, not really more competitive, but like League of Legends has a more punishing system, be kind to people. Dota 2 has a punishing system. Be kind to people. Be kind to people if you have actual ability to chat with them. Not that I don't think the PlainTalk family needs that lecture, but just tossing it out there. Catch up with the chat. Once they hit pro rank, Gwent becomes so much more fun. I agree, Furl. As soon as you hit your goal, it's just like, I can do whatever I want. And so a lot of people get the pro rank. They want that gold. They want that more diverse meta up there, and then go wild. Turkey credit card's not supported for. Is PayPal's not supported for Turkey too? What can I do? Alpha, Omega, Beta. I will take a look right after this. Unless somebody in the chat already knows the answer to that. Let's see. Catching up here. Coleman Trevor. Have been fervently consuming Witcher content. Last week I played Witcher 3, read the Sword of Destiny, watched Netflix show. Man, you're a machine, Coleman. You were digging the Witcher lore, and I love that. I love that. I need to do that a bit better myself. In Phobius, I only experience anxiety when facing frustrating, challenging decks like such as Clog or Mill. Feel that. When you see your deck getting clogged and you can't do what you want to do, it hurts. I'm going to skim a little bit. Have I read the Witcher books? I've read some of them, but not all of them. I'm sorry. Lore I'm lacking on. Definitely think in the world of ranked gaming, card games are least stressful. I agree. I think one-on-one games that have no social interaction are what stands out to me as less stressful. I think when people can flame you, that's when things get brutal. Catching on up. Oh, we got a new person in the chat. Let's see. I'm botching this. Hatshepsut3. Yes, exactly. I can't play competitive games because of my anxiety, but Gwent is the exception but I'm still stressed. But it's still mostly fun because of the Witcher lore and the game structure. Like that. That's a good call out. Sometimes, hey, maybe people, that's actually a really good call out. Because maybe you experience anxiety or stress every game, but you play Gwent because it has a generous system where it's not going to break the line. You're not going to queue up into like a StarCraft 1v1 and get flamed by your opponent saying easy win. You're never going to have your opponent, like your ally that you're supporting in League of Legends say, wow, you suck. I hope your computer blows up. It's probably a nice thing to be said in that game. Moving on. I think that's it's a really good call out there, Hatshepsut. That's really interesting. I never thought about that. All right. Hey, I have a question. What about chat's views on making old journeys available again? Instead of talking about that, let me just write that down. It's a good question. I have some very real opinions on there, and that is a perfect segue into the following. One of the most interesting things I have seen. Did you buy the current journey? 40% of people, yes, and I've bought other Gwent journeys before. Next group is yes, and it's the first Gwent journey I've bought. No, and I've bought other Gwent journeys before, 25%. And no, I've never bought a Gwent journey, nearly 30%. All right, let's break this one down. To me, with a question I asked, or we'll talk about next week, this means that journeys really are the monetization model for Gwent. And I'll preview the future question. It's not, the data isn't fully in. But a good portion of the Gwent community, the lower we go on this poll, I'm not going to spend much time here, the more people have complete card collections. Most people, nearly 40% of people have every card. So you can't really monetize off selling kegs anymore. You have to do journeys. And therefore, with 2,800 votes, to me it indicates, hey, look, nearly half the player base is buying this journey. I'll be curious. I don't have data on the other journeys, so I don't know if 40% is a lot or a little relative. Or I don't know if, let's say it's normally 60% and now there's a bunch of no's here. I don't know that. I don't have a baseline for it yet. We'll get one as we do more and more polls over time. But I think it's really interesting that first, this journey is bringing in new people. I'd be curious what a different journey would bring in people, or revisiting an old journey would bring. In terms of data, I think it's really important to know that this 28% is probably something CDPR is eyeing. How do you monetize the 28%? The players who are really just playing for free. But it looks like CDPR has really found a good way. A lot of the player base is buying the journeys. And I think it's fascinating. Let's see what the comments look like, shall we? Take a little meander on over. About the Yennefer. Okay, Stephen B. First, yeah, make sure you guys on YouTube fam are upvoting comments. I'm just looking at the top ones here. About the Yennefer and Triss journey. Now I haven't almost completed my card collection. I don't feel the need to buy another journey. It's about those two because the extra reward points. What I really dislike about the current journey is that a lot of the reward cards are part of previous journeys. There's not much new in the current journey. I think this is really interesting because I feel like they're contradictory. I see where we're coming from Stephen B in terms of saying, you know what, I bought the journeys originally to get cards. And now I have all the cards. But also the reward cards in this journey, they already showed up in the other journeys. But paradoxically, now that you have a complete collection, it's very much cosmetic based. The journeys are about the cosmetics and accelerating people accelerating people to the complete collection and then focusing on the cosmetics. Let's see. Doopity-doopity-doo. Catching up. Let's see. The only journey I didn't buy was Alzur's. No offense to the mighty Alzur, though. In hindsight, it was a very good journey with an amazing leader skin and cosmetics. The only reason I didn't buy The only reason I didn't buy was the previous series journey. The burnout was so painful, and even with the best of my efforts, I couldn't reach a level 160 for the last leader skin variation, and it pissed me off. The rest, I buy even before checking what cosmetics or what leader skin variations are available. That's super interesting. There, if you don't complete the full journey, you get pissed off. Now, mind you, I think CDPR wants you to be grinding out the journey in the like 2-month time period you get, because it has more players interacting with the game, enjoying the content, grinding it out. It's exciting. I don't know if they'll ever change their stance on that, especially now they're testing out the idea of fast travel, of buying future levels. So at the end of a journey, if you're short 5 levels, pay $4, you're done. I think it's really interesting though, as CDPR tries to figure out how generous they need to make the journey grinding to help people. Like 160 now, max level 100. They've come a long way in ensuring that people don't get pissed off. And I wonder if this kind, or RCMK's experience, helps fuel that. I think that's super, super interesting. So, moving along. Catch up with the chat here. Cosmetics are definitely a way forward to monetize Gwent. Yeah, it's so interesting, right? It's not a pay to win. It's just like, get cool cosmetics, which reminds me of that League of Legends model, that Dota 2 model. Most things are free. Just go grind. If you want cosmetics, get it. How much have people spent on the game? I can make a poll on that. That's not a bad suggestion there, Coleman. Catching on. Moving along. When did you start playing Gwent? 3,300 people here. And this tells an interesting story of 2017 and earlier. These are basically closed beta players and like a little bit out of beta. Almost over a third of the player base that voted in the poll still doing that. Then we have the dark times. 2018, 2019, no one's interested. 2020 comes along, COVID-19 hits. There's a surge, whether it's by Gwent doing better in general with design, or people getting locked inside their houses all day and not having stuff to do and wanting free games. Regardless, the last 2 years look really good. Remember, only 15% in 2021 joined in. As we go further into 2021 and go through September, October, November, and December, this will get closer. It's indicating to me one of two things. Either COVID-19 is really influential in helping all gaming markets, or Gwent's design is actually bringing people back or bringing in new people. So, flip side, probably should have specified there. I have no idea. I would have probably said wherever you first got introduced and started really playing Gwent, but I'm not sure how people voted. I do my best with what I got. I tried to give people an outline too, if they couldn't figure out where they started, for a Wikipedia thing. Let's see. I first started playing Gwent when I was in first. This is from, let's see, Mustafar G. Mustafar G. Yeah, I said it right. I started playing Gwent when it was first in Witcher 3, and then later I made it standalone. I got invited to the closed beta. Love that game. A couple weeks before Mirror Master from Gustavo. A couple weeks before Master Mirror. I remember being very confused at having to choose a faction to support, and when I looked at battle request. There's still contracts for that in my list, but I have no clue what they're for. Interesting. Lots of people just chiming in, it looks like, with where they started. But to me, this gives me optimism about the future of Gwent. I actually tweeted out about how Gwent viewership as a whole is up this year relative to last year. And that's really good, particularly given that COVID-19 hit last year and hit hard. Therefore, I think Gwent is growing. I think it's going to be really good. I think the future of Gwent is bright, even as some content creators are taking small breaks or slowing down their content production. Gwent's future looks good. Catch up with the chat. 2020's Android release, COVID, and Witcher series. Yep, that's a good point. 2020 was a big year for the Witcher franchise as a whole. Midwinter update hit different. You're not kidding, Coleman. Hit hard. I wonder how many players are exclusively mobile phone players. I feel like it was 20%. I might remember that wrong, or maybe it was never public. I feel like on a financial report there, because CDPR is a publicly traded company, they had to disclose that, or chose to disclose that. Let's see, join Gwent when Iron Judgment was released. Nice. Chescom Netflix show a Gwent-related movie. They've already done a Gwent-related movies, though, in Phobius. They just released The Witcher. There was the Witcher movie about sexy version of Vesemir. That was good. And then there's, of course, the Witcher series. I'm exclusively mobile. Shame. Interesting. You're mobile and hanging and watching a Twitch stream. I did not realize that, Freebone X. Yeah, Vesemir, Nightmare of the Wharf. That's what it's called. Vesemir, actually gorgeous. Like, genuinely. Whew. Moving along. Mobile Teslas. Hey, we're not picking a fight. We're Gwent fans. Yeah, but Lord B999, look, a lot of people are coming here because of the Witcher lore. They're getting interested in what else is out there. They come on over. It's interesting. It's so interesting. All right, moving along. How often do you play Gwent seasonal mode? I thought this was fascinating. Another really interesting question here. How often do you play Gwent seasonal mode? Every season, sometimes, rarely, only specific seasons, or never. Most people don't touch it. I confess, I'm in this category. Over 50 or nearly 50% of people, I only play specific seasonals or never play it. And if we go even bigger than that, over 80% rarely play it, never play it, or have only specific ones they like. That is fascinating to me. This is insane. The fact that, yeah, just like it's almost not worth ever making a new seasonal unless you come up with something really special. Because a large people never play it or rarely play it. A handful have specific ones they like. So if I make a really cool one, I'm really probably just going to hit 25% of the player base, maybe closer to 35. That's really not much. To me, from my takeaway, this is why draft is so important. If you get burnt out of Gwent, you probably need a different way to play than on the ranked ladder. Therefore, seasonal is a way, but it's not working, right? Seasonal, the cool rules and all that wackiness, most people don't even touch it. So draft, having this alternative super mode to keep you playing Gwent and interested when you get burnt out, really important. Makes perfect sense why CDPR is so focused on it. Could be for monetization. They could, once it's good, start charging you like other games, but that's ahead. My favorite seasonal is Patience is a Virtue. No repetitive strategies, just completely random card combos. Senior 99, completely agreed. I actually went as far as to comment on this one. I agreed. Way down here. It's my favorite. I love Patience is a Virtue. The other one I like is Battle Rush. The Fast Gwent, Battle Rush, is the best, so I can grind rewards. I love that mode. Should be permanent, but they never will. Another great example, Roast for Rewards. I also really like that one. I think playing complex memes in that mode is so much fun. So I'm a big fan of it as well. Tramel, thank you for posting that. And notice all the upvotes on both of these. Patience is a virtue. Patience is a virtue. I need to take a sip of coffee because I can't talk. Patience is a virtue. That was loud. Patience is a virtue, and Battle Rush, by far the most popular. Then you got like a little bit of recognition for Double Down, but it's these. It's these. Also, apparently people avoid the +1 to evens, but -1 to odds. Kind of makes sense to me. If you treat seasonal as the place you go for when you're sick of the ranked ladder, having something complex is probably not what you're looking for. And Alpha Omega Beta with 10 gift subs. You're out of control, my friend. Thank you for the generosity. Thank you for just coming here, coming in live, and then also tossing, the financial support my way, helping me keep doing what I'm doing. Thank you so much, Alpha Omega. And then you spread the love to all these other fantastic members in the Plain Talk fam. Means the world. Someone tell me how to play while in Turkey. Nice. That is awesome. Through Patreon. Oh my gosh, you're out of control, Alpha Omega Beta. Thank you so much. Gift sub hype indeed. Holy cow. Thank you. Unbelievable. That's wild. Oh my goodness. Thank you again. I'll catch up with the chat real fast, but my mind's blown. My mind is blown. Let's see. I think it was a good comment here from the Demasian. I'm burned out, so I just play seasonal to complete my journey. That makes perfect sense in terms of you burn out, pop the seasonal. Call it a day, grind out the journey as well. Also, Phobius made a good point. It's almost like a closed loop. The less people are interested in something, the less CDPR focuses on it. And the less CDPR focuses on something, the less people are interested in it. Kind of. I would also say, though, they pick their battles. So draft, no one really plays it. But draft in other games is proven to work. Magic the Gathering has a great draft mode. Hearthstone has a great draft mode. Legends of Runeterra has a particularly good draft mode. And very generous there, too. It's very inexpensive to play. You typically can play once or twice for free per week. Good. Basically, CDPR looks at that and says, I know players in other games like draft. We should try that, too. Seasonals are fun. We're not getting much success there. Let's try to make a formal mode. Impressive. It's impressive. Let's see. Also, Close Time makes a good point about seasonal. I think most people tend to make a few decks that abuse the seasonal. So the variety of decks is even less in that mode. Yes. Oh my gosh. And Phobius with 2 gift subs now. You guys are out of control today. My goodness. Thank you for the generosity there, Phobius. That's your 3rd gift sub of the day. You're out of control, my friend. Thank you so very much. And yeah, you guys are almost hype training again. I'm going to increase the difficulty on the hype train. We're going to have to. You guys are already crushing hard mode. You guys are literally crushing hard mode. YouTube community is like, John, this polls, but sorry guys, it's important. They're helping these people, these generous Twitch community here. Many of you are actually from the YouTube fam, hopping over to the live stream, helping support me going. So gotta call it out so I can keep making content because I do this full time. It means I need to feed myself, and they're helping, so I gotta call it out. Gotta love it. Let's go ahead and keep on going because I have two more things. One is, by the way, the Bushy Spiro Specimen Gwent poll or discussion about streaming is coming back. This video, the poll review, should be live before this happens. This is happening this coming Tuesday. Therefore, if you want to ask questions, go ahead and comment. Ideally, make the questions about streaming or business. That's going to be a better angle to come in. We talk about Gwent all the time. Our opinions are pretty well known, and stuff like this makes my opinions really well known. So we're trying to add in stuff that isn't as commonly discussed, which is that streaming aspect, that business aspect behind content creation. The final one. This poll is one of the most interesting ones here. One of the most interesting ones here. Do you think Tunnel Drill deserves a nerf? With 2,200 votes, 77% say yes, but 23% say no. And this one was fascinating. Just fascinating. I think I might have skipped some comments on one of the questions. Sorry about that. We'll go over here. Let's see. Remember, so this Kevin Hunter had a really good point. Remember when they changed the damage cards in Northern Realms? The really cooldown ones. Or maybe not. I think it was maybe it was the cooldown ones or the charge counter ones, but they were fixing it. It was really weak. Remember when they changed the damage cards in Northern Realms so Northern Realms could bank damage and nuke everything you played? I guess they changed it so we can give the playstyle to Syndicate. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. They're kind of poking fun at like, hey, Syndicate is now the problem one. But also, Kevin Hunter brings up a good point in terms of, hey, they fixed Northern Realms. They literally overhauled the entire charge counter archetype and made it the cooldown stuff. And the cooldown stuff is really popular. People like playing Siege now. Reinforced Ballistas feel great. So this to me also indicates of, hey, these no's might not say Syndicate is OP. They might say other problem cards are there. Like Caleb pointed out, I think Cleaver needs a nerf. I hate when he spawns Crown Splitters with shields. How am I supposed to deal with that in one turn before having my board wiped with Drill? Drill requires setup, and setup should be hard. It has a high reward as long as that is actually fine for the game, as long as you have a cost to the setup. But Cleaver can play him spawn two things. You have line pockets, you can only spend there. You have 3 Crown Splitters, you can only really deal with one of them, and 2 of them have shields. Like, no wonder Tunnel Drill is always seeing play. And then when it comes down, you instantly get to go off of it. You don't have time to react to the Crown Splitters. I think that's fascinating. And to me, this shows the complexity of the game. I was a big believer in Tunnel Drill needing to go from 7 to 8 provision. But now my mind's thinking, like, is there a better way forward for Syndicate? Where, hey, having powerful Syndicate cards of payoff makes a lot of sense. It's the factions trying to build up coins and drop down these crazy expensive cards with lots of provisions and points that you sink your coins into. But right now, it's this really consistent thing. Like, Tunnel Drill is too easy to set up. Maybe you let Tunnel Drill be this great payoff. A high risk, high reward for lower provision, but it's really hard to set up. And then you punish the other stuff. Nova Gradian Justice, Cleaver for their incredible setup. It is fascinating to me. So catching up with the chat here. Find your Twitch streams before you find your YouTube channel. I'm Phobius. I'm glad to hear that. It goes both ways. And catch you later. Obsidian 1, take care, my friend. See you soon. Specimen gave up today, said he's not feeling it. And hated the SK Whisper card, or hated the ST Whisper card. Yeah, ST's Whisper cards. John, so who's the other person I was talking to? He really hates that card in particular. Was it Lionheart? Was it Lionheart who was basically pointing out? I think it was Lionheart who says, I really hate the dual Bothana Whisper more than Tunnel Drill. Because Tunnel Drill is very fixed in the damage it's going to produce. You can quickly determine how much it's going to be. Dual Bothana Whisper, though, is either 3 points or 27 points. And it's brutal. For a 5 provision card, that's a lot of variability. I think it was in the Lionheart interview. Let's see here. I would tax mechanic and beef. That might be the answer. Hey, you know what? Fees are the problem. They're, it's like ultra zealed order abilities that you can repeat. We need a tax mechanic for Syndicate. So as you repeatedly use it, it gets more and more expensive. I actually really like that. That brings back some of that strategy to Syndicate. So I really like that. Syndicate cards order fee gain zeal. Another way to approach it, or something like that. Coins need to be more interactable. That's another way to approach it. You know what? Maybe Syndicate is a design issue. I think this poll to me indicates that the community's 23% isn't like Tunnel Drill is always going to be fine. I think there is a small percentage in there that says Tunnel Drill is absolutely fine, Syndicate is fine. A lot of these people, though, the no's, are saying, CDPR, look, you can nerf Tunnel Drill, but that's not the problem. It's the coin mechanic. It's that fee, zeal, and order smashed in the one. It's that profits are too high. It's that Cleaver can spawn Crown Splitters with shields. Same with Novigrad and Justice, so how are you going to stop the Tunnel Drill from getting set up? It's mind-blowing, it's simple, it's interesting, and it shows the complexity of Gwent's design. I really like this question. It was very thought-provoking. Is that it? Is that it? Spoiled a bunch of stuff there? Nah, it wasn't. I didn't spoil anything. And that's it. This is a poll we'll start with next week, and that'll be interesting. How large is your Gwent collection? And really, what does that mean for CDPR? But that is for discussion for next week. If you guys like what you see with the poll review or have additional comments, want to chat with the Twitch family and their thoughts, let me know in the comments below. And I appreciate it. And I'll love all of you, and I'll see you soon. Shout out to McGrandar and Ahmed Ali for all their unbelievably generous support on Patreon.